All day, all day, all day, all day, all day, all day.
Howdy, folks. Today we're going to talk about the TRI Starlight. This is a tri-bred set of headphones that I've been highly interested in ever since I got my EJ07s. To me, they seemed like maybe like a prettier clone back in the day. In terms of the shell, that's a lot nicer in my opinion. Sorry. But there are actually quite a lot of differences in these headphones. Let's just start with the build. Let's see if I could find the right headphone, something like that. Well, let me put these next to each other. There we go. So maybe that'll help somebody see the differences here. The TRI is highly, highly thicker. Yeah. Well, anyway, you can kind of tell from that angle. So a much more thick headphone. As far as the bore angle is actually slightly better on the TRI for my particular ears. Just wanted to have people look at that. It's not like, in terms of the way it sits in the outer ear, I wouldn't call it larger in that aspect. It's just thicker this way, so it sticks out a little more. Anyway, just moving on. I was quite shocked to see 4 bore tubes on this guy. I don't know if I can see them right there, but it's like, what? Okay, so I looked up the driver config of these, and for all I can tell, it's identical to the EJ07. You got the 10 millimeter dynamic driver. I think it's the same one. Quad electrostatics. 2 balanced armatures over there. So it's like, what the heck is in that 4th bore tube? So if we follow it, let's see if we could do this. It goes down to, right, okay. It's about as good as I can get it, but there's a little red damper. This is the 4th bore tube, goes down to like right here. I was convinced for a little while that I saw a balanced armature under that, but actually, I think that's a pressure relief. Now, there's a vent right here near the 2-pin. So I think what's going on is that 4th bore tube stops driver flex. And I'll tell you what, the original EJ's got driver flex like bad. Some people actually get it while moving the headphone, or like just as they're like moving their mouth around. I don't get that at all. But on insertion, yeah, the EJs will flex and the TRIs will not, which is really cool. As far as the price, that's basically about similar to the EJ. Let's see, if I look at my chart, what did I put there? About 800, like a little less, depending, you can get them around, but that's basically the price of them. As far as the fit and finish, I really like the aesthetic of them. They're quite large. I didn't get a cable with them. I don't know what it is. Don't care. I did get the box, which looks like so. And this is as cheap a box as you could possibly get on a headphone. It's basically, $1. Which is interesting, and then a little sticker saying TRI Audio Starlight. So if I had to guess, I'd say that TRI doesn't make, well, at least this. It's probably OEM'd by someone else, and that's my guess. Anyway, moving on. So very interesting headphones. I want to pull out let me see if I could find it. Yeah. Sorry. So I looked up the quote-unquote graph for the TRI Starlight, and that's the first thing I found, which is on a product page for where they are for sale. And I'm thinking like, no, that doesn't look like what I'm hearing at all. That looks pretty EJ07-ish, actually, give or take. No, not what I'm hearing. I asked the dude that sent him to me, like, do you hear that? And no, he doesn't hear that either. So let me go to the next graph. Well, okay, that's not a graph. I'll pull that out later, but that's a graph. So that's Crinical's TRI Starlight. And I'd say that's much more close to what I'm hearing, actually. Now, interesting things. 1K to 2.5K is basically quite similar to EJ. This is definitely more mid-bass than EJ, but I don't hear any roll-off like this. I don't know, that's like a decibel or something between 20 and 50, so yeah, probably not much, maybe 2 at most. I don't hear any bass roll-off, a little more warmth in the mid-bass, but you need that on this set, absolutely, because we got a nice little dip coming down at 5K. Between like 4.5 to 6K is a really bad hot spot for my particular ears, so I really enjoy this coming down right here. And then we go way, way, way up. Yeah, so the 8K is higher than the 2.5K, and then comes down. 711 couplers are not accurate in this area, but I'll just say this. It's got a hell of a lot of energy between 10 and 20K. It's stunning. And people looking at this graph might go like, yeah, you probably hate those things. And to be honest with you, I don't hate them, which is interesting. Just to pull this out real quick, there's an EJ07 versus the Starlight, so you can kind of see some differences here, 8K. And again, 711 couplers have an 8K peak, so that might be slightly lower, but, you know, whatever. Interesting. It's really almost as if they decreased the sensitivity a little bit and then added that extra power you send into the headphones into the electrostatic drivers. And in fact, speaking of that, the amount of power these things take is extraordinary. I got an Aun B1S, and I have to put that on high gain. That's the only IEM I've ever had to do that on, ever. If I put them in the the Burson Playmate 2, I got that thing up to like 60 to 70. That is extremely high. That's only low gain, but it's extremely high. So these things are definitely not an EJ. They definitely have lower sensitivity than most headphones I've ever tried, actually. And what ends up happening, like I said, is I think they're pumping that energy into the electrostatics, and you absolutely hear it. So, going to my chart. Let's do that. All right, TRI Starlight is on top. And just before I get into this, if I had to put these headphones in a couple words, I would say it would be like an EJ with the treble amped up to like, 11, 14, something like that, incredibly high. And by the way, just that picture I pulled out because that's kind of like what my brain kept imagining when I'm listening to these, that like razor sharp, pure, clear starlight. It sounds weird, but when you listen to them, you'll get it. They have the most twinkly, well-tuned, incredible amount of treble I've ever heard on any other headphone ever. And that includes everything. 64 audios, Moondrops, everything. Now, usually I'm the kind of guy that's like, ugh, treble, man, just too much. It's just, bleh. But, okay, if you try to do this tuning with a balanced armature set, you're going to end up with something I hate. They sound like an EJ shot through a laser. I don't know. Just incredibly twinkly treble. It's definitely elevated above anything else I've heard, but I actually like it. It's a little fatiguing, but if I wanted to hear a track and extract every last bit of detail that I could ever possibly hear out of it and enjoy the track, I'd pick these. It's like, whoa. So let's start with exceptional factor. I'm going to give that a 9. I guess if I could listen to them longer, I would probably throw that a 10. Now, at like medium levels, they're pretty okay. There's no sibilant parts, there's no piercy parts, which is weird compared to the graph. I fully understand that. So I don't know. We'll give them a 9 out of 10 in exceptional, or maybe a 9 out of 11 for the EJ. 9 out of 10. And for accuracy, we're going to give them a 9. That's being a little bit nice, but like I said, the tuning is such that it comes across as pretty natural with just incredible amounts of clear treble in a way that I actually really enjoy. maybe I should downgrade that because I can tell you for sure that like a mix, I know they don't intend for these type of like the mixes I'm listening to have that much treble. I know that. On the other hand, if I was talking about this in audiophile sense, where I want to extract the most amount of treble possible while still retaining a relatively accurate soundscape, that kind of thing is going through my mind. So I don't know. I may degrade that a little bit. They're not at the top of my chart, so don't worry about that sort of stuff. But treble heads need apply. This set is stunning. Stunning. Hot. Intense. But I love like I said, if they did this with a balanced armature, I wouldn't be able to handle it at all. I don't know why. All right, wideness, 10 out of 10. Yeah, the extra treble just, it does the trick. They are they are way out past the sides of your head. We'll just say that for wideness. 3D goes down a little bit to go to 8 out of 10. For the amount of treble, I don't know how you could possibly get better 3D. I think that it is as good as a treble headset could ever get in 3D, personally. And they do actually retain a lot of the magic of the original EJ, which is stunning. I don't know how they did it. I mean, I could tell kind of from the graph, at least from the bass to mids. That's all real pretty much EJ, a little bit extra mid bass, but again, you need that to counteract the treble, at least in terms of perceptual audio. All right, so 3D is going to be 8 out of 10. Imaging is a 10. Stuff left to right you can pick out in razor accurate space. Pretty stunning, and love it. Volume scaling, definitely hot in the treble. We'll give it an 8, and I'm probably being a little nice. So back to this 8K peak right here. Okay, so like I said, my hotspot is between like 4 and 6K, something in that range, maybe 7. But this is after my hotspot, so it's not tremendously fatiguing. Whereas something, if that peak was moved downwards, I wouldn't be able to handle it, and I'd hate them. Just interesting. And I mean, after 10K, it's very, very obvious to me that they have an incredible amount of energy in this area, more than a lot of sets. I was thinking about it like the Mest, the original Mest. They do have a similar amount of 10K to 20K treble, but the Mest, to me, sounds like they compressed the treble. That is like studio compression, so it compresses the dynamic range and then pops it up in the mix. Whereas the Starlight seems more natural. It's not compressed, but it's just a hell of a lot of treble. Okay. Moving back to the Excel spreadsheet. So bass, 9.5 out of 10. They've got basically EJ bass with a little more mid bass, a little more warmth in that area. Not super picky. Like I said, it counteracts the extra treble and sounds great. 9.5 out of 10. Mids will give a 9. They're basically EJ mids. But it's a little harder to hear them with the onslaught of crazy detailed treble. But I love them. I love them a lot. Detail, we're going to give a 9. You're like, what? Well, okay, look. It's a little much treble. It is. But when I'm in the mood for it and I got some fresh ears, oh, man, it's just killer. Hits me in a nice sweet spot. And the resolution. So look, man. I thought about this for quite a while, and combine that extra treble, quad electrostatics, and you end up with the most detail you can extract out of a track I've ever heard, and I mean ever. It's that good. Quite a little fatiguing, quite intense, but it's there. This is as good as I've ever heard. It's the best. And pressure buildup, absolutely not. They got that killer vent system in there. Better than a lot of stuff, actually. So win on that. Isolating, they're huge. They go in, the angle's right, 4 out of 5. Very good. Binaural, extra treble is a no-no for that, and so probably being nice. Binaural sounds pretty much like shit on them, sadly. But I don't, these metrics here, additional benefits, don't go into the total sound score. Although most people might think that I would hate this type of set, for some reason I don't, and it's probably because it's got so much of the heart of EJ in there. and electrostatics with a hell of a lot of treble instead of balanced armatures, you end up with a quite special set. And that's where they land in my chart. And do I recommend these? Oops. I recommend these highly for treble heads. I would not recommend these for anyone else. You got to know what you're getting into. It's like you want treble that is as much as you're ever going to get, as good as you're ever going to get, and a hell of a lot of it, with all of the other things being basically great, then this is the set for you. Hopefully you don't have small ears because that's going to kill it. But I actually love these headphones. They would be like, a special day headphone where maybe I'd get a new track or something, maybe some acoustic stuff, and really dig into that and try and hear every little minutia while still enjoying the musicality. That's the best way I could put it. So I do recommend these for treble heads and folks with a big pocket, a big wallet, and other than that, avoid. All right. Thanks a lot, folks. And thank you, Cyber Thingy, for sending me these. I appreciate this more than you could ever know. Right on. Have a great day. Talk to you on the next one.